So Dr. Doom, the new Sorcerer Supreme, is fed up with the Avengers. So the Sorcerer Supreme himself decides to show the Avengers how things should be done. Now, this is an issue here that is essentially teeing up a Doom event that we're supposed to be getting here in the future. So this is a little bit of a preview as to what is to come. Now, welcome back to Keepin the Comic, and I'm your host, GoofyRhexxi. So we pick up on the Avengers out in Earth orbit on their new base at the Impossible City. Now, T'Challa is talking with Captain America about this new recon mission he's supposed to be going on here within the Tesseract space inside of the Meridian Diadem. Now, I'm not really going to get into it here because it's not really incredibly important for the story, but we might cover that aspect here a little bit in the future. Now, Sam mentions how he finds it convenient, though, that he is going on this mission just when his ex-wife Storm has just joined the Avengers. Now, Black Panther admits that, truth be told, one of his biggest regrets was losing Storm, and T'Challa, us too, homie. Us too. Now, speaking of Storm, she was seen here having a cup of tea or coffee with Captain Marvel, discussing just how T'Challa it is for him to be going on this mission, partially to avoid having a conversation with her. But at the same time, Black Panther truthfully, she believes is just the right person here for the solo mission. So with that being said, T'Challa is off, but he's not the only Avenger that they will be down before they meet with Dr. Doom. In the previous issue before this one, Thor decided to leave his position as the member of the Avengers because of what's going on in his Immortals Thor series, where he is currently being accused of murder, so he got to go handle that situation. So when Dr. Doom shows up as a projection to the Avengers, saying that he wants to speak, he takes them to a desert out in Afghanistan. Now, this is where we see the current version of the Avengers. Captain America, Sam Wilson, we get Captain Marvel here, there's Scarlet Witch, there's Vision, Storm, and Iron Man. Now, Doom is only here in his astral form, which you can tell irritates some of them quite a bit, particularly Scarlet Witch, who asks the question, so you've stolen the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme? Have you access here to justify yourself? But Doom is like, nah, I have summoned you here to justify yourselves. So Doom, as he says, while he's had this new position, right, as the Sorcerer Supreme, he's been meditating on the nature of power. And he's been wondering, as the Avengers represent one of the greatest concentrations of power in this world, why is it that they have let the world that they have sworn to protect come to this state? A world that is full of war, hate, fractured, warring flags, how lesser men wield power over their betters. Injustice is the common currency of the nations of this world. And what should be their world? Why have they, the most powerful, have allowed this to happen? So Cap tries to say something. He's like, injustice coming from Dr. Doom? That's pretty rich. But Doom was basically like, yo, shut up. Speaking of flags and oversight, I should have clarified that while I would speak with the Avengers, I have no interest in anything that Captain America could say. Man, the savagery of Dr. Doom. So Captain Marvel opens up her mouth and it's like, why don't you just spit it out so we can get back to our busy days? So Doom is like, gladly, I summon you here to the graveyard of empires for the answer to one question. Why have you not taken this world in hand and set things right? So Doom starts to summon what looks like soldiers, but soldiers from different empires, as he just talked about here, meaning soldiers and warriors from different times and locations from around the world. Now, these soldiers just serve as props, although they're feeling real to the Avengers, but it's just to basically talk through his point, which is like, what army could stand against the Avengers? What weapons could the nations of Earth bring to stand up against their war, their strategy, their skill? That each of them, yes, even Cap Sam, is more than a match for any nation. So you put 7 of them together, that is more than enough of a match for the entire world. So he wants to know, what is the drawback? Is it that they lack the character? Do they use their morals to mask the fact that they are cowards? Or is it that they lack the imagination to conceive a better world? So he decides, maybe it is their imagination. So let me show them what could be. So first he shows us Captain America. Instead of being a captain of a decrepit union, he said it, not me, dying imperial power, he becomes a captain of a unified world. Then Captain Marvel, she would represent a world brought together, ready to take its place on the galactic stage among equals. Iron Man, a flawed genius, finally free of weapons, co-signing both his and the world's addiction to war as a scrap heap of history. Storm, a goddess, finally doing what her people, what all the Avengers and the X-Men could not, securing the future for the mutants. Then Vision, being the greatest of all artificial life forms, freed from the imposition of humans' morality, free to burn the scourge of his ancestry from the face of the world, no matter the cost. Scarlet Witch, she would be the hero to the hopeless, finally living up to her name, finally exercising the power she keeps so in check without fear for damaging the false structures of the world. Then finally, this would be the good world, a rights world, an Avengers world. He sees this as what true ethics would demand of those with true power. So Storm is like, all right, enough of this. And then she takes out all of these conjured up warriors. Now the Avengers give the answer that you would expect them to give, of course. So Storm is like, you ask a question that in a way that the only answer is the one that he wants, but the answers that they have are not the ones that he would like. So then Tony chimes in about how he knows war. He's built it. He's raised on it. And if the Avengers try to take control of the world, it's going to be war again. How they would kill thousands, tens of thousands, and more just to start. A world cannot be created like that. Storm agrees that although they might have the power, they don't have the right, how they are not the ultimate authority, and everyone else's answers are basically the same, how they protect the world from things that would end, how they can't impose their will on billions, how no person can rule this world, not even 7, without making it worse than what it is already, how they will always be there to save the world, but not by taking away its ability to save itself. So like I said, guys, the typical cliche answers, but Doom initially responds by saying, I see, I was incorrect. And then Tony is like, damn, I should have recorded that. While Captain Marvel is like, I'm glad that you're seeing reason. But Doom is like, hold on, let me cook. He's like, I was incorrect about it being a lack of imagination. It was actually cowardice. Such power, but you're all afraid of that power. You've allowed that fear to master you instead of mastering the world. You've let your fear make you small. But Doom has never been and will never be small. And there is nothing that can master Doom. Goodbye, Avengers. Oh my gosh. Now, later on, as the Avengers regroup, Tony realizes that they did not change Doom's mind at all. I'm like, yo, bro, you think? Vision mentions how there was never any chance of that happening at any point, that this meeting was really about something else. In fact, the purpose of Doom's meeting was to exercise his thoughts, use the Avengers as props, his devil's advocate, a way to kind of aid him in this troubleshooting, reinforce his own ideas and the rightness of them, how he believes that he must do what the Avengers will not do. And the scariest part is that Doom, as the Sorcerer Supreme, now has the power to do it. So I am curious and I am interested. I will say, though, that this kind of was like a very cliche message from the entire Avengers group. We've seen this trope being used before, but what I like about it is the fact that Doom showed what his future would look like, and the fact that he now has the power to actually execute upon that. that intrigues me quite a bit here, and I'm interested in seeing what that looks like here in the future. What did you think about this comic here? Leave it down below in the comments. Leave a like on this video here so that it can reach a wider audience. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. And as always, thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin It Comic.